Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. Princess Kate is reportedly preparing for a return to royal duties with plans to join the royal family at Cenotaph on Remembrance Sunday after completing her chemotherapy treatment. According to the Sunday Times, she is expected to attend the national service on November 10th alongside King Charles to honour those who died in conflict. Additionally, if her health permits, Kate will host her annual Together at Christmas Carol service at Westminster Abbey in December. The big story this week will be Harry's 40th birthday. In the Daily Mail, Jan Moyer writes, "Life begins at 40, as the saying goes, yet as he approaches his milestone birthday next Sunday, Prince Harry has already done a lot of living, perhaps even too much. However, it is not his fault, as he often points out that he has been in the public eye since birth. He didn't ask to be born into the House of Windsor or paraded on the hospital steps when he was barely a day old, a little blue blood nugget of princely promise and aristocratic genes swaddled in centuries of royal breeding. Over the decades since, many different Harrys have floated across the world stage: adorable schoolboy in cap and piped blazer, tragic bereaved son, teenage tearaway, brave soldier, helicopter pilot, best man, worst option. Then there was Mahiki nightclub regular, husband and father, royal tormentor, exiled prince, self-appointed caped crusader. It's no secret he has also been a joker, a smoker and a midnight toker. But these days, as he struggles to establish himself as a serious man in America, Prince Harry likes to present his most solemn persona to the world. Low points have been Prince Harry accepting an award from John Travolta for being a living legend of aviation and telling an Apple documentary called The Me You Can't See, I've Got a Hell of a Lot of My Mum in Me. On and on it goes, a slow boil of utter cringe. That is not to say that Prince Harry does not mean well or deserve credit for some of his initiatives. The Invictus Games is certainly the best of him and has been a triumph around the globe. Yet, as a pair of full-time activists, the Sussexes just don't seem convincing or dedicated enough. For a start, the sight of Prince Harry being eaten alive by his own piety as he or his wife climb aboard another private jet is hardly encouraging. And there is little transparency about money, how much they donate, how much they keep, and who gets what and why. As Prince Harry faces another birthday, another year, what does the future hold? It can only get harder. As time goes on, the bloom fades on the rose and the cheeky charm that once endeared him to the world is rarely glimpsed these days. Often there is a touch of disdain in his blue-eyed gaze. Sometimes he looks downright miserable. Perhaps he is thinking to himself, where did it all go wrong? Birthday essays aside, it was a slow news day for the royals, with the lead being a story about how William should worry about an alliance between Beatrice, Eugenie and the Sussexes. That's the sort of generic story that gets dredged up when tabloids are bored with rehashing Kate, Meghan in the dress, or even telling stories of Queen Elizabeth. Anyway, Tom Quinn told the Mirror, "For William and Kate, an alliance between Harry and Meghan and Beatrice and Eugenie is a huge worry. They sense that Beatrice and Eugenie feel that as virtual outcasts themselves, they have far more in common with Harry and Meghan than with any other part of the family. The situation is made worse by the fact that the senior royal's main asset, Kate herself, has been out of action." The anniversary of Elizabeth's passing had everyone reflecting on her absence. Royal biographer Andrew Morton told OK, "It's been very difficult for the royal family just to keep going because so many of them have been seriously ill and are seriously ill. King Charles has not been a particularly lucky monarch so far. I think they all miss her guiding hand. With the Queen as head of state and head of family, they've all bedded down quite nicely into their roles and now everyone's been jolted around. As the illness which has assailed so many of the senior royals has knocked the whole edifice back on its heels." Royal expert Jenny Bond adds, "If you think back to that picture of the Queen, Charles, William and George taken a few years ago, you remember how solid the future of the monarchy looked, with 3 future kings all alive and well. After the many ups and downs of her reign, the Queen must have felt that her legacy was secure and the future was looking pretty rosy. So it would have been a great shock for Elizabeth to witness the difficulties of the past few months, and she would obviously have been deeply upset by her son and her granddaughter-in-law suffering from cancer. I think William in particular would have found his grandmother's presence reassuring, and she would have given him wise counsel. I suspect she would have told him to do exactly what he is doing, putting his family first until things improve." Meghan is being accused of disrespecting Queen Elizabeth by appearing at a bookstore. Meghan attended Oprah Winfrey's book party at Godmother's Bookstore in Summerlin, California. The event, which took place just a day before the anniversary of the Queen's death, caught the attention of eagle-eyed fans. Behind Meghan during her speech, Prince Harry's controversial memoir Spare was prominently displayed on the store's Hometown Heroes shelf, celebrating local authors, a detail that many saw as a nod to the Sussex's break from the royal family. Though the specifics of Meghan's speech remain unknown, the gesture of having Spare front and centre on such a poignant day added a layer of tension to the event, sparking debates online, with critics accusing Meghan of poor timing and disrespect, while supporters praised her for continuing to speak her truth. Palace Intrigue will be right back. Prince Andrew is facing a harsh reality regarding his living situation at the Royal Lodge. According to the Times, only two possible options remain for him. He either has to cover the cost of the lodge's security himself or move to a smaller royal residence. A source from the outlet stated, Andrew is taking longer than desirable to recognise the reality of the situation, even though relocating is clearly the most sensible course of action. Given that Andrew stepped down as a working royal in 2019 and has never had a traditional job, it is highly unlikely that he can afford the extensive security bill for the estate. Though he receives a private allowance from King Charles and a naval pension, both could be in jeopardy if he continues to resist moving out of the Royal Lodge. The lodge, valued at an estimated £30 million in 2022, requires significant repairs, which Andrew has reportedly not addressed. This has led King Charles to consider renting it out privately for an estimated £1 million a year. The more sensible alternative residence for Andrew and his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson is Frogmore Cottage, a recently renovated, smaller property that still benefits from Windsor estate security. However, Andrew has repeatedly refused to move into the cottage, despite the King's willingness to continue financially supporting him there. The insider added, it is now 2 years into the King's reign, and he wants the matter settled. It can be done tidily or untidily. It can be done with grace and dignity, or it can be forced upon him. It's all rather sad. But as things stand, life at Royal Lodge is set to become increasingly cold and uncomfortable for the Duke. The only question now is when he will realise that he has become a prisoner of his own pride. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple, or the app of your choice, and write a review, leave some stars if you're enjoying the show. And don't forget, we have merch and subscriptions available. You can get this show commercial-free. All the info is in the episode notes. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue. Good times.